So welcome to the next episode of King Conversations. I'm Chris Evans and I'm here with my man Mark Smith. So Mark, what brings you to Kansas City?
Man, I came in town because I wanted to come to the Chiefs' first game.
For sure.
But what really piqued my interest is when I was talking to you. I can't remember how we got on the conversation. He was like, "You in town?" Said, "Come and let's do a podcast together." So really, the real reason why I'm here is because I didn't want to disappoint you. So I'm here for that.
I can appreciate that. You hit me on the text, and what'd you text me for? So
I text you because you were connected, and I know that your son is at Morehouse.
Right.
And I wanted to I'm like, Chris, man, I got a deal, an NIL deal, and I want to make sure I get some students from Morehouse involved. And he was like, hey, I can make that connection happen. So that's how we got to talking about that.
Okay, now I appreciate it. It's funny because I always talk to the kids about, we initially met through baseball.
Yep.
We're talking to them about the power of the network and the power of jobs beyond being on the field. And there's so much in the sports, and you're definitely evidence of, if you're not on the field, there's still a million things involved with sports that you could do.
Right. And kids nowadays think differently, right? They want to be entrepreneurs or they want to try different things. So sports is really that student that is creative and competitive, which either a business wants to utilize because they say, hey, that kid knows how to compete, they know how to win, they know how to lose. We can use them in our business, or they say, I want to go out and do my own thing and just try different things. And sports is like that. It's a very competitive environment, and we want to make sure that we continue to grow that and provide those opportunities.
Excellent. So you mentioned you wanted students from Morehouse. Exactly what is the name of your business? What do y'all do? How do y'all put it together? And how did the idea come about?
Yeah, so it's called the Icon 1901 Collective. It is the first and leading HBCU collective that supports HBCU students with NIL deals.
Wow.
So we actually go out and work with different brands on securing deals for our student athletes. What you'll see at the bigger schools is they have alumni, they have businesses that want to be associated with, like Texas or Michigan and stuff like that. But who's coming to support the HBCUs?
Right.
So 3 years ago, I'm in my basement, and I said, it came across a thing, I think it was Twitter, hey, I don't have enough to eat. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, time out. This is one of our student athletes that says he doesn't have enough to eat or he's hungry or things like that. I said, what can we do about it? And right then and there, I said, there's a problem and we need to fix it. So about 2 weeks later, I had procured two of my business partners, Marvin Nichols and David Dirks, all went to Grambling, and we then said, hey, we can not only do the Icon 1901, but we have to do the HBCU Icon Collective. So we pivoted, and now if you go to our website, www.icon1901, you will see that we have students from over 40 HBCUs on our platform, about 400 students there. And what we do is we've set it up to where they can do their own deals, or we go out and we secure deals for them. So really it was just, I identified a problem and I said, I refuse for us to be left out of this and not at the table.
My name is Marvin Nichols. I am the Chief Marketing and Branding Officer for the Icon 1901 Collective. The Icon 1901 Collective is a NIL company that provides full service to HBCU athletes, not just one HBCU, but all 103 HBCUs. Our collective is specially made for HBCU athletes because we know that there is a disparity amongst NIL in our HBCU colleges and universities. If you join the Icon 1901 Collective via the HBCU Icon Exchange, which is a platform, it is a marketplace for you, for HBCU athletes to accept brand deals.
When we're talking about NIL, and I think I shared an article with you that you read about someone had published about where we think this is going for HBCUs, and then just continuing to push and make sure that we have the representation we deserve.
Right. Now, it's amazing because I think about, I'm going to let you tell the story, but I think about the softball player from, what was it, Stanford?
Yeah.
that went to Texas Tech. And
Yes.
she's getting, what, $1 million a year?
Yes.
But then your son, who's
Mhm.
an athlete on campus, what was their school fundraising?
Well, their school fundraising. So, it's different at HBCUs. A buddy of mine, he always says it's rough out there in those HBCU streets. It's okay. We laugh and joke about it because we've been there. But he plays baseball at HBCU, and they actually are going out doing fundraising by doing some crowd management at school at football games.
Right.
It's there, yes,
Players are doing it.
players
Yes.
to raise money for their program to play a sport that they love, right?
Right.
And my thing is, should we not be utilizing NIL in a different way? Meaning, could we have not went to local businesses and said, hey, we need this to be able to support our students so they can enjoy their student athlete time while they're in school?
Right.
But you got to do what you got to do, right? We're
Mhm.
building, right? So, and he was like, Dad, I don't have a problem with it. It's going to support the team. The team's doing it together. No problem.
Right.
I just think differently from a business perspective that we have to work a little harder. And let me just say this. The athletic departments, they don't have the staff for it at these HBCUs. I get that. But that's why I'm here, right? So partner up with me, utilize me with me, use my resources, make sure the students are on the platform, make sure they understand this, and then let's build on that.
Right.
Mhm.
I think, and your platform, I'm sure, has a way of going about this. But one thing that I think is a strong push is getting alums of HBCUs actively involved in understanding, because we love going to homecoming. Whether we watch the football game or not is another thing. But if you love it that much, invest your dollars into these young people.
Yes.
And this is an excellent platform and a way to do that, especially if you're an entrepreneur, even a corporation.
Yep. Well, Chris, you went to an HBCU, so you understand this. What is the one thing? It's trust, right? They have to trust that if they're going to invest in this or invest in these student athletes, the money's going where it needs to go.
Right.
And I'm not saying anybody's doing anything wrong with it. It's
Right.
just they want to be able to see that their money went where it was supposed to go. And if we can show that and demonstrate that, and they see the results, like when they go to our site and they see the videos the kids created, they were paid for that. I don't do anything where they are not compensated for it. They're paid for their work. NIL is a quid pro quo, meaning you have to do something in order to receive something. So we make sure that they do what they're supposed to do in helping a brand, building a brand, promoting a brand, so that they can receive the compensation or in-kind donations or swag or product that they want, right? So you get it. But the alumni is so important, right? That's what is really
That's the foundation.
funding a lot of these collectives.
Right.
They channel that money there. They want that quarterback to have the best experience he can have. They want them to come to their school. They want to win.
Right.
And what we can't allow is our students to continue to get picked off, because once they have a good season at HBCU, guess who's coming? It might not be at Texas or that, but it might be at Texas Arlington, a smaller school. And they got $5,000 a month for that student. Not a lot of money, but it's enough to change that student's trajectory. Now,
So essentially, if we want to keep sports at HBCUs, we gotta get with the times. We gotta put some money up, and not necessarily like you're competing. And again, I have a college student.
Yes.
It's not the $1 million contracts. It's the $1,000, the $500 here, the $1,000 there, the $1,200 here. Smaller levels that can sustain you through college.
so you know what that does, Chris? And you hit the nail on the head. I'm not here to make college free or to do that. I'm here to lessen the burden on that father like yourself that's working and sometimes have to send his son some money because...
Not sometimes, all the time.
Okay, all the time. Has to send his son money. Not everybody's in a position to be able to do that. These student athletes can't work a 9 to 5. So they have to find other means to do it. That's why NIL is a great vehicle for them to do it if they actively participate. So to your point, I'm not here to make people rich or increase their swag or anything like that, or their drip. I'm here to lessen the burden. So that $16,000 bill might become 10 now, which is more manageable for that parent, where they can do some other things.
But even in the process, what I love about the platform is that you're making the students also learn. There's an educational component, so they're learning how to market themselves. They're learning to understand their value. They're understanding how to present themselves on social media. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I think COVID did a number on our kids, right? And what it did was it caused them to go into a shell to have to communicate differently. They're good at communicating on their phone, through text, stuff like that. But even holding phone conversations, we used to, back in the day, man, we used to pick up the phone and call each other. We'd be on the phone with each other. And it's probably weird now, but that's what we do. We were just sending texts back and forth all the time, and that was the whole interaction. So we're trying to teach them a skill set. And I said this before, you shouldn't come out of college with just a degree. You should come out with something else. A network and part of a community. Those things are really important, right?
Very important.
The network and part of a community. When you do what you're doing with kids and podcasting and through your programs, those kids now become a part of your network. And if they do what they're supposed to, they can rely upon you. They might need a letter from you, a reference from you, or even somebody to talk to. That's what makes that important on building that network. And then if you have them in your association or your nonprofit, now they're part of a community.
Right.
You never know. I think I read something. I don't know how true this is, but Elon Musk and some of his buddies all stayed in the house together. These guys are the guys that started LinkedIn. They started all these businesses that are billion. I mean, they were just in the house, but they were probably saying, "I'm going to do this," or "You're going to do that." Now they're part of a community and a network, and they can move things.
You remember the rapper? This is a little bit off point, but I heard this today. The rapper Chameleonaire.
Yeah.
He had like one hit song.
One.
And they said he's probably one of the wealthiest rappers because he did that. He invested in a house in Silicon Valley and just had a bunch of tech guys come move in the house, and whoever had the best ideas, he invested in it.
Man.
So he has...
That was so smart.
Yeah.
That was so smart. Because what he did was he created an atmosphere where they didn't have to worry about where they're going to stay and stuff. And they were in an environment where all the technology and learning was happening. That was smart.
Yeah, that's amazing. But I didn't want to get you...
No, that's fine. I love that. I love learning new things. I'm going to have to do some research on that because that was outside the box thinking on his part. He took what he had, bought that house, put them in the house, and then as they came with the ideas, he invested. That's the problem. We don't know when this stuff is happening. I know Nas invested in Uber. I think he invested in Uber when it was first coming. But somebody had to tell him that. He had to be in the room or associated with that group, somebody to put that in his ear.
Right.
And he did not miss on that opportunity. He's probably made more money there than he has throughout his rap career.
But I think your platform, honestly, is one of those opportunities where, in order for HBCUs to keep up and for us to keep athletics, we will have to address this question.
Yes, we do.
Because students will come and students will go. People gave Deion Sanders a lot of flack for leaving, and you could probably have a whole class on that discussion back and forth. But the reality is, there are opportunities out here. Are you going to take advantage of those opportunities? It may or may not make sense to you personally, but the opportunities will present themselves.
Right. So when the students on our platform, and I showed you our platform, and they can go there, you never know who's going looking at that, right? You never know if it's Walmart, if it's Target, if it's McDonald's or whatever, and they're saying, you know what? These students are tapped into what we want. Everybody wants market share. Everybody wants to increase their visibility. Everybody wants to do stuff with kids that drive the culture. We drive the culture. Homecoming's coming up. That Morehouse Spelman homecoming, I heard, is bananas.
It's the best.
Well, my neighbor, he's a North Carolina A&T graduate. He swears theirs is the best in the world. So
when you know better, you do better. But I'm sure it's a lovely time in North Carolina.
Right. But I'm saying, think about all the new stuff that comes out there. Everybody's looking for a hat. You know, I'm wearing this hat today from Gorin Brothers, right? We're doing a deal with them for our student athletes, and that's going to be big. Gorin saw the vision of how they could utilize a market that they don't necessarily play in, and they want to get in. But they also want to help student athletes at the same time. So I'm not letting student athletes be taken advantage of.
Right.
I'm making sure that they benefit from this. But they're going to learn. You never know. They might want to go work for Gorin or open their own store or say, hey, I really like hats. I want to design them. Because it's going to be a whole experience that we create. And I'm going to make sure that you are aware of that. Because the Morehouse Atlanta game, we're doing something there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make sure if you can't make it, you at least have a hat. I'm gonna make sure.
Okay,
of
I
that.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know which game y'all going to? Or?
It's the Morehouse Clark Atlanta game,
Morehouse,
November
okay.
8th. Yeah.
November 8th. Okay.
November 8th.
That's a deal.
It's gonna be a big game
It
because
should be a big game.
yeah, because those schools are right there next to you. I'm a Clark Atlanta graduate, Grambling State undergrad, but Clark Atlanta master's degree,
Okay.
and I know how close knit those schools are.
I want to say I may misquote it, but Morehouse won one game last year, and it was against Clark Atlanta.
Oh,
and I think Clark Atlanta 1-0.
Oh,
so it was intense last year, but we did get that victory last year. So it was
fighting for the bottom. Sometimes it's still a fight,
especially if it's your neighbor.
Your neighbor, man, that's totally different. Walking and y'all got to see each other too, and y'all both know that y'all only won one game, but it was against you. That's bragging rights.
Yeah, that's the Super Bowl in some instances.
That's right.
So you were talking about what you're doing for athletes, the Goring Brothers.
Yes.
Can you explain what you're doing for the quarterback at Grambling State?
Miles Crawley, great young man. He's done a lot. He's gone to the Peyton Manning camp 2 years in a row.
Okay.
One of the only HBCU quarterbacks to be invited. He's phenomenal. He's a great young man, and we kind of like use him as our first athlete. And really, it goes back to his dad kind of understanding the NIL space, and his dad's been instrumental. But as I showed you, he has his own brand, right? And the brand looks phenomenal. I mean, he markets it. When you go to the games, you'll see his dad in his gear, other people in his gear, and that's how they support him. And by setting up that program, it really made sense for us to benefit him. But I set it up not just for him.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? Every single student on our platform can get the same deal.
That's nice.
And they don't have to house anything. They don't have to ship anything. They create the brand for them, and we make it work. So I negotiated a great deal to make sure that those student athletes won. And you never know who's going to pick up your brand. You might design something that a company says, oh, I need that logo, or I need that brand.
That's nice.
Boom. Now they're paying you for it, right? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make sure that was there. But Miles Crawley, follow him. He's the man at Grambling State University.
So when he comes to the game, he sees people wearing his shirt as he's walking out the team, walking on the field.
Sees him wearing it on the campus, the things like that. It's close-knit community. But why not promote yourself?
Right.
The Bayou Classic, one of the biggest games around. He's going to be pumping his stuff that whole week leading up to it. Miles Crawley, MJ7 gear, get it here. People go there, click on it. I have some, and I wear it every now and then. But the thing is, I wanted to support him, so I bought some.
Right.
Why not?
Right.
I knew it was going to benefit him.
Or even you think about alums that, they're going to the game.
Yeah.
They want to buy some stuff anyway. Why not buy something that's current?
See, you get it. Why not buy something that you know is going to benefit that young man?
Right.
You've probably seen it at some of the bigger schools. Here we are in Kansas City. You got Missouri, KU, stuff like that. When you go there, the fans know those students, right?
Right.
Well, at our HBCUs, we really can't connect with them that way because we're in rural areas or places we can't get to. How can we form better relationships with our student athletes so either when they get out, they can call on that alumni or they can know that somebody else outside their family was supporting them? Those are huge things that play into the mental aspect of a young man and woman.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about the gentleman at Prairie View, baseball players? What kind of deal did you just do for them?
Yeah, so Mike Smith and Michael Burrows, they're two great athletes at Prairie View. I think they're draft prospects. Both of them are just talented ball players. So the All-Star game was in Dallas. Okay. So I flew down. I did an NIL deal with both of them. Just them documenting their whole going to the game. Right. They played in the HBCU All-Star game, taking the pictures, talking about the Icon 1901, what it's done for them, how it helps them. And they loved it. Like I talked to them afterwards and they was like, Mr. Smith, any deals you got or anything that comes up, man, call us up. We love that. And they did all this on their own, right? We gave them the scripts to follow. They followed everything. That was part of the training that they got. If we wanted them to wear something different or take something in a different area, they did it. If we needed to change their lighting, came out phenomenal. I think you've seen some of their work. If you play some of the things on our Instagram, you'll see some of their videos and stuff. but it allowed them to participate, and that was what was big. These kids want to participate.
So here they are at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
Yep.
And you have the best baseball players in the world
Mhm.
that are being highlighted. But yet and still, as HBCU college players, they got a camera crew following them around, documenting them as well. That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yep, and that was a beautiful thing to see, and it now rolls over into them being back on campus. Now I can use them as an ambassador for the Icon 1901, bringing along other students. There are students there that do this stuff and they give it away for free,
Right.
and that's one of the things I had to say. We had to stop giving away things for free. Learn how to monetize. Somebody said something the other day. The only thing Black people produce is sweat. Dancing, running the ball, shooting the ball, that. What else do we produce? So now we're trying to produce with our mind,
Right.
which causes us to think differently. How can I monetize on these things? I don't think we understood the value of $1.
Right.
And that's what I try and teach these kids. $10 can turn into 20, 20 can turn into 40. How do we continue to build upon that? So don't look at, I only got $10 for this. Look at everything else that came around that as well.
Right. One of the things I explained to the mentorship group
Mhm.
is you talk about understanding the value.
Mm-hmm.
Things that come natural to you, sometimes, a lot of times we take that for granted
Yes.
and don't want to monetize it because we're like, oh, that was easy. That was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just woke up, like you talking about saying, yeah, I got 12,000 subscribers on YouTube. That was, that was for play.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to get serious about it.
Uh-huh.
And you have businesses that, have 50 subscribers and are struggling to get to where, the youth they're able to obtain it second nature,
Mhm.
but don't understand the value of it. You talk about advertising for free, Instagram pages, TikTok pages. You're promoting something.
Yes.
And you're building something whether you're trying to or not.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is tracking these numbers of how many subscribers you are. Are you going to be able to capitalize on it off of the brand that you build?
And sometimes, man, they will hold you down. You don't understand the algorithms and how everything goes. I have a young man right now who has a video that has over 2 million views.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the company that is put up that video, they're selling some product behind that.
Wow.
2 million views, about 6,200 shares.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a product that he's demonstrating that's in the video. And my thing is they should be doing an NIL deal with him.
Right.
And I've reached out to him and we're kind of going silent,
Right.
but that's okay. We know now how to move with that. We can't allow our kids to be taken advantage of. We had one young man, the sleeves that the football players wear.
Right.
His picture was on their website because he took such good pictures of him doing it, but he didn't receive anything for it. I was like, oh no. I said, you might want to have them take that down. That's an NIL deal for you. So
name, image, and likeness.
Name, image, and likeness. We have to make sure that our kids understand the business side of this, and that's where we come in at. The things that we make our students go through is like financial literacy. It's stuff they're not going to learn in school. Understand taxes, understand marketing, understand how to negotiate, different things like that. We provide that for them and we teach it because we're protective of our kids, man. That's why I hate to say it. I don't know if someone that's not HBCU could do what we do because I walk those same grounds. I understand, man. It's a struggle. Going in the calf, eating catfish every day or hot dog because that's all you have.
Right.
I mean, you know how that goes.
Noodles.
You see, you were noodles, right?
No, that's real. What, if any, what is your competition right now?
So
what are you competing against?
So
in order to get this going?
there's competition out there. Open Doors, Influencer, Mogul, other platforms, big platforms with like 70, 80,000 students on there.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, are they getting deals?
Right.
And then two, particularly for the black athletes. So imagine if a student from Grambling or Southern or Morehouse is on their platform with 70,000 others, right? Who's going on there checking for that student at Morehouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they come to us, it's no different from a corporation or a company going to recruit employees at a school.
Mm-hmm.
When they go to a HBCU, what are they looking for?
Black kids.
A HBCU student, right? So when they come to us, what are they looking for? An HBCU student. And there's real money there. Like the black dollar is there, and it is multiplying. These kids, when they come out of school, they're going to come out and they're going to need insurance.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to go buy their favorite car. They're going to travel on their favorite airline. They're going to rent their favorite from their favorite rental company. Do you want to get them early, or do you want to have to fight for them? Right. So I pull a page from Tom Joyner. You remember Tom Joyner?
Right.
He should be like, oh, this company that supports us, we're going to support them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this company is not supporting us, well, we're going to support this one over here. Right. So come on. You understand what he was doing. He wasn't mean or nasty about it. Right. He was just being honest about it.
This is who is for us.
Yeah.
Just real quick, what would you say high school student, high school athlete, college athlete, in managing their social media to become more marketable? What are some quick do's and don'ts to have on your page?
Make sure it's not anything that you wouldn't want your grandma to see. Okay?
It's some grandmas out here now.
It is. It's some grandmas that might accept. It's some young grandmas. But make sure that it's as clean as possible. If you got to use the music version, use the clean version, man. Just simple stuff like that. Right. Or just use the instrumental part of it. You know, still you can have the music there. Make sure that it presents you well, right? It would represent you, and it would speak to you now 2 years from now. If someone's went back and saw it, it still represents who you are. Okay. And then don't be afraid to be creative, right? This is the age of creation, man, and you never know who's going to see this, who's going to, say that they want to do business with you. Just be a good person and responsible person with your social media. That's the main thing that we tell our young student athletes. Be responsible with your social media.
Now, I have an opinion on this. And it's probably controversial, but I just want to get your take on it. The young people in the tattoos, is that helping, hurting in this arena? Is it just is what it is? Or?
So tattoos as far as what? All over, or just having a tattoo in general?
Visible tattoos, neck, face, sleeves, arms.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be honest. I have a tattoo right here. Right. Didn't get it till I was 50. Okay. But I got a tattoo. But I did it and it meant something for my mom and my dad and my wife and my family and everything like that. I don't have a problem with it, but understand society views that different, right? And it's still going to limit you in some kind of way at some point in time. So understand it's not socially acceptable everywhere, okay? I used to run 7 Amazon facilities, right? Mm-hmm. Amazon allowed, they didn't care what you came to work in. There were people with sleeves and tattoos and all kinds of stuff. Even the managers had tattoos. They wanted this. So they were past all that. They were making sure those packages made it out the door. However, there are certain things that you're majoring in, minoring in, that won't necessarily allow that. I train kids in baseball. I was talking to one of the dads. I didn't know what he did. He's a surgeon. Right. He has a whole sleeve done. Right. But he's made it. And I'm sure he didn't do that in the beginning. He did it when the time was right. So you can still have something up here that is easily covered up. And then when you make it or you feel like, hey, I'm doing something different or, got some things in place, go ahead and express yourself a little bit more. But you don't need to go all out early on. That's just my opinion, though. Okay. That's good. I mean, what do you think?
No, I'm just curious as, people are, looking for people to represent their company. Mm-hmm. Could it be limiting? Or it could be on the other side, like, this is a very fun person. He has a free spirit. We want someone with a lot of tattoos. I don't know, but I know it's a conversation, and I know that more thought should be probably put into some of the tattoos.
Let me tell you something. We're doing a deal with a major brand, and they're looking at all of that. Right. So some of the kids we submitted could be left out because of that. And it could be because they just don't want anybody having a tattoo on their body that's visible that may show up in a shot. Got to respect that, right? Mm-hmm. They're the ones writing the check, paying the money. Others might not mind that. But we go through all that when we're selecting students and stuff like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I just think it's important to have those open discussions because it's acceptable. People can have tattoos. But
when we were coming up, Chris, did high schoolers have tattoos?
Oh, no.
Exactly.
No. I mean, I remember going to college. I was kind of like, and this was mid-'90s. You know, that was kind of one of the first things people got when they were, you know, I'm a man now, I'm gonna get me a tattoo. But it was like under your undershirt, you know, on your chest or your back.
And then when you saw him somewhere at a picnic or something, you was like, oh man, I didn't know he had a tattoo.
Or they got a tattoo and their mama didn't know, you know, until years later because it was hidden somewhere.
Right.
But, you know, as a high school baseball coach, I see kids as soon as they turn 18, full forearm.
Yeah.
On the hand. And again, it's not unacceptable.
Nope.
But it does cause your mind to start thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of advertising products for somebody, if you are getting tattoos, you should be very mindful of if this shows up in a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Is it offending anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Is it pushing any lines? Could I not get this deal done because of this?
I've had that conversation with my 21-year-old. He's a man now, right? He's like, Dad, I'm gonna get a tattoo and I know what I want and I'm gonna get a sleep. I was like, Jaden, I said, I understand it, man. Good looking kid. I said, you can get something here, man. We can always cover that up, right?
Right.
Let's get into our business. Let's get into this before that becomes something that people might judge you by. And we shouldn't judge anybody, but it's a reality. It happens, right? It's the first thing they see. And they won't know the story behind it. There could be a whole story behind it that really makes sense that they would even agree with. But they don't know because they might not ask the why behind it.
And then there's the element of, not to go too deep into this, but there's the element of your 18-year-old money, you get an 18-year-old tattoo.
Yes.
And when you're 19, that tattoo don't look like much.
Nope.
You know what I mean? So by the time you're 25, it just...
Yeah, buddy, you're like, what was I thinking?
You know, you could afford it then, but I'm just in looking, there's levels to the game. And if you getting a low-end tattoo in a primary spot on your body, it ain't turning out too well.
That ends up looking like an ink blot. Yeah. You know, you're like, man, that's crazy.
I don't know what makes it different, but I know I see, Coach, I got a tattoo. You're like...
Yeah. what is it?
And then the other element is, you know, what you like today, you probably won't like 2-3 years from now. Mm-hmm. You want that permanently on your body.
Yep. So. Yep. Understanding your purpose. So is that going to be your purpose for life too?
For life. Yeah.
That kind of speaks to that. Like this is who I am. So you're saying, okay, this is going to be with you for life, right?
Right.
I mean, you see it, but some players now, and it's okay. They're in the entertainment business, right? Entertainment business is totally different. They can do different things. They don't have to worry about showing up for that 9 to 5, and you know we need you to present for this $1 million deal, and now you're in there. It's 97 degrees outside, and you're the only one with a long sleeve shirt on, right? Need to cover that up because you even feel a certain way, you know. Right. So now you're sweating out doing your presentation.
No, that's something. So you said you got experience at Grambling and Clark. Mm-hmm. How would you describe your HBCU experience? And if you had to do it all over again, is that what you would do? Man,
I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So I'm from Kansas City, Missouri originally. So I'll tell you a little background. Was at UMKC.
Okay.
Flunked out. Okay. Wasn't responsible. Still staying here. Still staying at home. Wasn't maturing. Right. My dad packed me up. Sent me to Grambling State University. Walked on the baseball team there, made the team, played while I was there. The best experience I could have ever had.
Wow.
Got down there, was on the dean's list every year.
Okay.
Never look back. Got to graduate school. Chrysler came.
Well, stop there.
Yeah.
Some people will say, well, you flunked out here.
Yeah.
But you went there on the dean's list. Was the school easier there?
Nope.
Or what was the difference?
Nope. You know what the difference was? And I can show you to this day. I got professors that still call me. I got professors that care. Never will forget this. Dr. Ronnie Davis, we're in his statistics class. And I told him, I said, Dr. Davis, I'm going to get an A in your class. He was like, you ain't getting no A in my class. I was like, yes, I am.
Right.
I did. Now, when he was teaching one day and I saw him leave out the room and go and come back in and tell the young man that was sitting there, hey, your dad is on the phone. And he was like, my dad? And he done did this during the middle class. Right. Yeah, I called him and told him you're down here wasting his money. You need to go talk to him.
Wow.
I was like, wow. I was like, they really cared, right? They would come to my games. They really cared. And I tell this to other athletes. Just because you're an athlete, join another club that's not anything to do with athletics. That's where I learned about networking and other people and seeing other people differently. Because I could have just hung around athletes my whole time, but I didn't. The HBCU experience taught me that I can do anything. When I got to Chrysler after graduate school, I was competing with kids from Michigan, Michigan State for full-time jobs. Now it was 12 interns, only 6 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I came dressed in a suit and tie every day. 3 days of interviewing. Some of the kids that were there, they said, "Why are you coming in a suit and tie?" They said, "It's business casual." I could have changed who I was and next day showed up business casual, but I didn't, because I would say that shows that they can easily influence who I am.
Right.
I remained who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was taught I had to represent. I was representing HBCUs, not just myself. I was representing HBCUs. So then when I went back and recruited other kids, I made sure that they presented themselves in the same way.
Right.
We set the bar really high, and the expectations were set. But your son is having a phenomenal time at Morehouse. It was the right choice. You chose Morehouse.
Right.
You wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Your experience taught you something that you couldn't get anywhere else, and you continue to support HBCUs and what they mean.
I'd say the number one thing that I learned at Morehouse was there's a world out there that you can't even imagine. HBCU is like a gateway.
Yes.
There's something perfect for you, but you don't even know it exists yet.
You don't.
So like when we ask kids, what you gonna major in? What kind of job you want? Like I had the opportunity to spend the summer interning on Wall Street.
Okay.
I had heard of Wall Street.
Yeah.
But I didn't know you could actually get a job there and work and understanding financial markets and understanding the stock market, understanding mergers and acquisitions and deals.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that was phenomenal because I was good in math in high school. And all they told you good in math, you should be an engineer.
Yeah.
And so I went to school. I had an internship at Sprint in engineering.
Yeah.
And it was valuable. But the one thing I said is these are the most boringest people I've ever, like, there's no way I could do this every day. I'm struggling as an intern to be in this office in this cubicle sitting here all day doing what they do. And this is supposed to be the cream of the crop.
Yes.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It's for somebody, but it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so Morehouse introduced me to a whole nother world. I ended up working in management consulting. Never heard of management consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up going to Brazil and South Africa while I was in school. You know, I'd never been abroad. My dad had been abroad because he was in the Vietnam War. Like, just exposing you, and there's just such a gateway to what's out there in the world.
Yeah.
And then the diversity amongst black people.
Yes.
We know Kansas City black people.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying it's good, bad, or different, but
Right.
all black people in the world ain't like.
Nope.
You know, we have our good traits.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, kids from Kansas City, as you go away and do very, very well, because I think we're well grounded, very humble, very appreciative of things. But there is a huge diversity amongst black people that I just did not know existed.
So what the HBCU experience provided you was you were the majority, not the minority. Okay? And that's very a different mindset, right?
So we can get to the other stuff now, because it ain't just skin color, y'all over here.
Yeah,
y'all over.
exactly.
Now we can get a layer
But
deeper.
guess what you could also do? You could pick your friends and they look like you. So they could have had this group of friends over here. They're still African American kids or Asian kids or, you know, kids from other backgrounds. Or you could pick this group. But it was still going to be your group. And you could move between all those different groups and have different experiences.
Right.
But you were the majority. You weren't the minority.
Right.
You know, and nothing wrong with these students that go to Texas or Michigan or, you know, I'm just using those LSU. Love that. Go there, take advantage of it. They're going to pay you to go there, take advantage of it. However, don't ever forget who you are, right? In that space. And then expand it. Shoot, the kids from LSU, they come down to Xavier and hang out down there. They go to Southern and hang out. You know, you know how it is. Georgia Tech comes to Morehouse or Spelman.
What was a football game? There was a football game. There was a football game this past weekend. You know, it was an HBCU playing. Who was it?
Was it here?
No, it wasn't here.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, they got blown out. HBCU got blown out. But the kid scored a touchdown, and he went over to dance with the cheerleaders like, man, we don't have this on our campus.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of it anyway. I forgot what game it was.
Well,
that was
it might have been. I know UAPB got blown out like 70-7. They were playing Arkansas, so it was one of those. Those are those money games.
I want to say it was in the Carolinas somewhere.
Yeah, it was one of those teams there. But they do it, and it's fun for them. That's why Louisiana Tech, which is 5 miles from Grambling, where do you think those guys come hang out at?
Right.
Come hang out on Grambling's campus. You know, they go back to their school, and it's nice, but you know they're welcome there too.
Right.
So you know we don't have to go over there; they come over where we are.
That definitely makes sense. So what you do in Michigan with your baseball organization?
So I own an indoor baseball facility. It's called the Lab Canton, and we just train, man.
Okay.
Just train. I got 4 trainers in there. They're older guys, and man, we sit there and we just hold kids accountable, man. We love the game. We don't have any gimmicks or tricks or anything. There's only certain ways to teach it, and that's hard work. This is the only sport, and you know with your baseball background, that rewards hard work. That's it. The harder you work, the easier the game will be. So we make our practices tough. We make our training tough so we can make the game easy, right? I tell kids all the time, I never expect you to be perfect in the game.
Right.
But when we're here practicing, I expect perfection.
Right.
Because this is what we can control, right? I can control that. Man, I got some 7-year-olds that come to my place, man, tear the place down, man. It's amazing how they hit now.
Right.
You know, but it was me sitting on a bucket showing them that we're going to take a couple hundred swings here, and I need them all to look perfect. Giving them an example of my son Jaden, or my guy Owen Carpellotti, who's one of the top catchers. He's at Georgetown. He was a Big East Freshman of the Year. And letting them come back and train the kids and seeing how they go about work, giving them an example of that. But it's nothing but hard work, Chris.
Right.
That's it. I mean, you see it. You've been doing it a long time. You got sons at play. You got an organization. I don't know if there's a substitute for it. If you don't fall in love with the tee, if you don't fall in love with the work, game's just not for you.
Right.
We can play it for fun, but if you want to get to those higher levels, man, it's tough.
I mean, baseball is a perfect example of how, you know, they throw in. Like when we played, you know, the one instruction, you got to put your elbow up.
Yeah.
I don't even think people say that anymore.
Nope.
But it's been analyzed at such a level, and they're throwing in new vocabulary, they're throwing in new technology. But when it comes down to it, it's just hard work.
It's just hard work, man.
It's hard work. To make all that other stuff work, you got to put in the time and the energy.
Man, I've watched my son, and he's a switch hitter. He's a phenomenal hitter. And I was trying to talk to him and get all analytical and be like, talk to me about this. He said, Dad, I just clear my mind and try and hit the ball as hard as I can where it's pitched. I keep it that simple. I was like, man, what else can I teach you then? I was like, there's nothing else for us to talk about then. I was like, I thought we was going to have this deep discussion about, well, I try and do this and I try and do that. He was like, Dad, I just go up there looking for the best pitch I can hit as hard as I can. I was like, dang. Man, now you just, everything that I had playing on my notes, we can't even talk about that. Let me just toss you some BP. He was like, yep, that's it.
I mean, the reality is hitting a baseball is a reflex.
It is.
When it comes down to, so you're just training your body to have that discernment, that discipline for your reflex to be in order. I mean, that's bottom line. Because the balls, you can't think about all the stuff that the world is trying to put in your head in that split second.
Nope.
It's just,
and you can't go up there with your mind cloudy. So I wrote a book. It hasn't come out yet. I'm working on it. It's done. It's called the Student Athlete Parents Playbook on Holding Their Kids Accountable. Right?
Nice.
So it talks to them about how to hold your kids accountable. But then too, there's pieces in there that I put in there about the parents holding themselves accountable. Like, don't expect your kid to have a great game if your attitude is terrible on the way to the game.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? They pick up on that. Energy is real, right? How we transfer energy between each other is real. And that book just talks about how to build a successful kid, holding them accountable in sports. And that's what I wrote it on. And I just kind of gave these tips at the end of each chapter. And, you know, definitely when I get a copy, I'll definitely send it to you just so you can have it. But I just felt the need to do that because I know parents struggle sometimes with how they can communicate with their kids. Well, I struggle with that myself. You know, there's a period of time where you're in the car, you've seen the videos. man, I'm wasting all this time and money, and you come out here and you play like that, man. We've all had those conversations. But that's why I stopped coaching my oldest son so early, because I wanted to make sure I maintained the relationship.
Right.
That was more important.
It's definitely a tough task trying to balance it.
It is. And then, too, you don't want your son to be neglected or daughter to be neglected, because when you're a coach, man, you got to give a piece of yourself to each one of them kids.
Yeah.
And your own kid, you figure, oh, he's got it because he's got me at home. That's not the same as, is he getting better and am I helping him get better? So
like I still have to force myself to be intentional on social media about posting about just my kid.
yes.
Like when my son was a senior, it was probably the first time I started doing it. But I mean, I coached them since they were 5. So if we won a championship, it was the whole team won. We all played great. You didn't say, my son had the game-winning home run, or my son pitched a shutout, or because you're the head coach.
Yep.
Oh, he just advertising his kid. So when his senior year, I finally, and it's not even sports related, just giving his just due props.
Man, he had worked so hard, man. He earned it. So you and I want to say this. This is our first time meeting in person.
Right.
But we met like 3-4 years ago, just through the baseball scene. And I got to applaud you. I had no idea Kansas City had a scene like that. I grew up playing at 3 and 2.
Yeah, I did too.
So,
who'd you play for?
man, I played for a team called Arrow. But my boys are Belgian thrower.
Yep.
Them were some dogs.
Yeah, I saw Steve Ford the other night.
Steve
Ford's the daughter goes to
Come on,
Academy.
man.
Yeah.
And who's my guy?
Yeah,
I
Mike-
talk to him all the time.
Mike
He went
Jones.
to Bishop Hogan with me.
Yeah.
he
Marvin
played for the man. I grew up watching those guys,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
And those were some guys that could really play the game. They're the ones that inspired me to keep playing. Now, I couldn't compete with them because they were a little older, but
No,
man, I used to watch them.
Those were some real deal guys.
Yeah.
But to back up, one point I wanted to make about the book. Parents taking things serious. When we started, I think it was probably 7, 8.
Mm-hmm.
I know it was with my younger son team at 7, 8. The older ones were probably 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
We've had these 8 o'clock games on Sunday morning. Which means you leaving the house at 6:15, 6:30 to be there by 7. So we did our normal throwing, stretching, and I brought out the red kickball.
Oh, yeah.
So we didn't do any fielding drills, no hitting drills. We warmed up our arms. We brought out the red kickball, and we played in right field or left field, whatever.
Game?
We played a game before the game.
Okay.
At 7:15, 7:20 in the morning. And it just was, they already know how to play baseball.
Yeah.
We just need these kids to wake up.
Yeah.
We just need them to wake up and be energized.
Man, I love that.
And so it started out like it was fun for us.
Uh-huh.
We had no idea what it was doing to the other team. Inevitably, the ball is going to go to the other side.
Yeah.
And the whole team is looking over. They so loud, they having fun. What's going on over there?
Yeah.
And all the coaches, keep your eyes over here. Pay attention. Forget about what they doing.
Right.
And then you got the moms walking up with their coffee. Oh, you guys are so fun.
Yeah.
We don't get to do any of this fun stuff on our team. This is so cool. I wish our coaches would allow our kids to just have fun.
Yeah.
But that was our thing. Like we got to the point where the kids wanted the 8 o'clock game. Coach, can we play kickball?
Yeah.
They 14, 15. Coach, can you bring? Man, y'all too old for that.
Yeah.
But that was a good time. Like they play so many games now.
Mm-hmm.
So many times. You got the World Series, then you got the Grand Slam World Series, then you got the National Grand Slam, Super Duper World Series, the Elite World Series. And so, but to the kids, I think it's just, we got another Saturday baseball game. But the parents are like, man, this tournament costs us extra. We had to get a hotel and, we had to do this. But the kids are just like, it's another game.
I eventually found out, man, where baseball is going now, and it's an international sport. Invest in the training and make sure your kid is mentally well.
Yeah.
Invest in the training, because playing the game is just the fun part. It's all a result of your hard work where you get to showcase it. But the training is where you really get better at.
100%.
100%.
And
there's people out there that'll take your money and stuff like that and pat you on the head, throw you a couple balls. But somebody that's really into the details, I'm into the details.
Right.
Like, I will not let one of my kids do anything wrong twice. I'll be like, talk to me about that last swing. I said, what was different? Because I'm not going to always be there, but I need to make sure that they have the knowledge to say how they can fix it themselves. And I let the parents sit there because I want them to listen. I said, you're going to be the coach when I'm there. You need to develop a code word or something that when they hear it, they know something's off. Fix it, right? Because you're investing in them and paying your money and you want to see your results.
One of the things I struggle with and don't have an answer for is you have some very well-trained baseball players, but they can't play baseball. I guess it's almost like you book smart, but you don't have any street smarts. I need that to immediately translate into you being able to play the game and having that baseball awareness, that baseball IQ. Yeah, you can feel the ball and it looks beautifully and you got your arms up and throwing it perfect, but can you do it when that stress level hits?
You know where I found that helps? When Jaden comes home from college, I have him train the kids that I've been working with. I have him do training.
Right.
So he can understand what he's teaching or what he knows, and is his communication good enough to be able to tell somebody else and then see it actually happen.
Right.
That's one of the things I use. I make them do training. Plus, I need a break sometimes. I make them do training.
Say, come earn your keep.
Yes.
Yeah. And NIL deal, you paying for it?
Sometimes it's called room and board, and you got a place to sleep while you're home. That's what it's called.
Sure.
But really, the parents love it.
Right.
So you never know whose kid you're training that says, you know what, I just love your son, and he does so well with them. Oh, might be the captain of an industry or something. He really needs an internship. Oh, okay. Let me make a phone call or something. That's building his network. We do all this stuff for our kids to, I call it space and grace, right? We buy this stuff in advance.
Good deal. So give us a quick rundown of the platform again.
Yep.
Shout out to Instagram, the website, all the information, how they can connect, and everybody who needs to connect. Is it the students? Is it the alums?
Man,
is it the businesses?
it's everybody, man. We don't turn away anybody. We need this to be a unified effort where everybody supports this. And there's enough for everybody. Everybody can find a place to participate. So www.icon1901.com is where you can go for that, right? And you're going to see a place on it where you can donate, where if you're a small business, you can create your own campaign, or we can create it for you. There's a form on there you can fill out. So if you want to promote your business in a particular area or support a kid through NIL, you can. Of course, you can write that off and stuff like that. And our Instagram is out there. Our Twitter's out there. You can connect with us on all those platforms because we know that content is king, and those that followers, you never know what you're going to see that you might not benefit from it, but you might be able to share it with someone else that could benefit from it. So share all that. We love to follow people. We love for people to follow us. We love the engagement. It's important. I'm a fan of yours. I'm going to continue to support you in everything that you do. If you ever need me to come back, talk to some kids. If you want to come back and train, now I don't know how good I'll be, but you might want to learn how a guy from Kansas City that lives in Michigan and owns a place trains on something. You might learn something.
I want to come to Michigan and see the facility.
Hey, I want you to come visit it. I'm going to set you up, and you're going to have to take my lessons while I'm there. Take my 7-year-old. But the platform is there. Is there. We have some very creative things that we're doing. We not only do that, we teach, we grow, we manifest, and we're going to make sure that these kids win. Not just that. I have a nonprofit too, and I haven't released that yet. It's called the Student Athlete Prosperity Initiative, and it covers all these different things. But one of the things I'm most proud of, and when I launch it, I'll make sure you're one of the first to see it. It's called a GAP program, and it's a graduate athlete program. Think about this. Students, when they're student athletes, they can't go to the National Black NBA and do interviews and do internships. They're either eating, sleeping, working on their sport, training, or playing.
Right.
They get to the end of the 4 years, might have a resume, might not. Might have a mentor, might not. Man, we set them up to where they can do a disc assessment. At least disc assessments don't cost anything. But it's going to tell you who you're good at working with and what type of business makes sense, right, for you to go into. So that GAP program teaches them about setting up their LinkedIn, making sure that they have a good resume, and use AI. Right. But somebody still has to give you the thought for it. So some of these kids just need that extra boost there. But that's one of the things I'm most proud of. And that's going to be one of the things that I set up that really benefits these kids as well. And anybody's going to be able to come take it. I want high schoolers to come take it, all that stuff. So as you see high schoolers starting to come out and go to these colleges, Chris, I'm there for them. And you can use me as a resource if I need to jump on a Zoom or anything. Happy to talk to parents about it and answer their questions.
No, I greatly appreciate you taking the time. First, for sending me the text and ending up in this spot because, I mean, you are the definition of the HBCU experience. You're committed, and it's coming up with ideas, doing the research, and turning it into a business and helping your people.
Yes.
That's absolutely amazing, absolutely a blessing. So I appreciate you, all that you're doing. I'm glad that we are kind of on the front end and the cutting edge of learning.
You are.
About all this.
We've been around 3 years, but guess what? This is probably my first podcast.
Okay.
You're the first.
We're the first.
Leading the way.
We're going to say, hey, when we see him on CNBC and ESPN blowing up, we say, man, we did that.
Or ESPN or wherever talking about this, you can say you were the first. And I believe in giving people those opportunities. You gave me an opportunity, and I believe in you getting the recognition for that too.
No, I appreciate it. With that, we're signing off, man.
Okay.
Really appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
Good deal.
All right. Thank you.